the personal finance book that 99% of people can understand. Everyone desires wealth. The famous British wit Oscar Wilde once said, "When I was young, I thought money was the most important thing. Now that I'm older, I realize I was absolutely right." Even after more than a century, these words still ring true. While everyone understands the importance of wealth, many feel lost when it comes to financial management. Financial planning often seems overwhelming. A decade ago, people could only invest in stocks and government bonds. Today, besides stocks and bonds, we have mutual funds, financial products, paper gold, foreign exchange, P2P lending, and more. Mutual funds alone come in various types: equity funds, bond funds, QDI funds, index funds, and so on. It's easy to feel dizzy before even understanding all these investment options. That's why some people simply keep their money in the bank, believing financial management is too complicated. This book we're discussing today reveals that financial management isn't actually complex. In fact, a financial plan can fit on a single page. The author, Carl Richards, is a financial planner with over 20 years of experience who founded his own portfolio design company and writes columns for several media outlets, including the New York Times. Throughout his career, Richards encountered many clients who gave up on financial planning because it seemed too complicated and offered too many choices. He decided to write a book simplifying financial management, showing that it can fit on one page. The starting point of financial planning isn't investment. It's understanding what you truly pursue and value most. In other words, clarifying your values. Once you have this foundation, planning and execution become much easier. This one-page financial plan covers three aspects. 1. Why money matters to you. 2. Estimates of financial goals. 3. Amount of debt to be repaid. Let's examine the first question. Why is money important to you? Understanding this reveals the key and clarifies your values. With this foundation, creating and executing a financial plan becomes natural. One of the author's clients, a successful female doctor who managed an emergency response team, sought financial advice. When asked why money was important to her, she answered, "Freedom." The author probed further. What does freedom mean to you? Flexibility. Why is flexibility important? More time. What would you do with more time? Finally, she replied, "I want to have a child." This answer surprised even herself, as if she had just realized it. Having a child turns out to be so crucial to oneself. In our fast-paced, high-intensity work life, we often don't have time to hear our inner voice, or perhaps we're afraid to face it. The first step in creating a financial plan is recognizing what truly matters to you, and then aligning your financial plan with your values. A financial plan isn't a Wall Street strategy. It's a tailored product made just for you. Ask yourself what matters most, find your core priorities, and this will help you avoid being distracted by less important things. As best-selling author Stephen Covey says, when there's something burning with passion deep inside you, it becomes easy to say no to other things. Now, take out a piece of paper and start your one-page financial plan. The first thing you need to write down is, why is money important to you? The second step is estimating your financial goals. Remember the most important point here. The future is full of uncertainties, and you can only make rough estimates. While most financial books you've read might tell you to set short-term, medium-term, and long-term goals, our book tells you this is completely unnecessary. Life rarely follows our expectations. When it comes to our future financial situation, uncertainty is what we fear most. Yet you must accept that uncertainty is the norm in life. As John Lennon famously said, life is what happens while you're busy making other plans. Creating a financial plan is actually similar to planning a vacation. Experienced travelers know not to make their itineraries too rigid or schedules too packed. Even small hiccups can throw everything into chaos. It's better to decide on the destination, list a few must-see spots, and leave the rest of the time flexible. Indeed, whether it's traveling or financial planning, we need to make peace with uncertainty. Acknowledging that we don't know what the future holds can actually be liberating. Of course, while details aren't necessary, you still need a general direction, just like knowing your destination when traveling. This brings us to step 2, estimating your desired financial position. After clarifying your values in step 1 and knowing what matters most, we can now set goals based on importance and urgency, guided by these values. Don't worry, these goals aren't set in stone. They can be adjusted according to your life circumstances. Perhaps your current goals are buying a BMW in 5 years, traveling around the world before 45, and retiring before 60. How much money would each goal require? Let's estimate. A BMW 5 Series costs $50,000, world travel needs $100,000, and for retirement at 60, let's assume you need $500,000 in savings. Write these goals and amounts on your one-page plan, and you've completed Step 2, estimating your financial goals. Step 3 is understanding your debt situation. A balance sheet best explains your financial position, and you can create your own personal balance sheet. Why are many people unclear about their financial situation? Is it really that difficult? Perhaps many just don't want to face it. You might not want to think about your iPhone installment payments, your credit card debt from Black Friday shopping, or your 20-year mortgage for that city apartment. However, without a clear understanding of your financial situation, you'll never achieve your goals. This isn't actually that difficult. Whether you have a financial background or not, you've probably heard of a balance sheet. Create your personal balance sheet. Take a piece of paper, draw a vertical line down the middle, list your assets on the left, savings, house market value, investments, and your liabilities on the right, mortgage, car loans, credit card debt. Subtract total liabilities from total assets to get your net worth. Simple enough. Write down your debts on your one-page plan. Now this page contains the 3 key points we discussed: why money matters, your financial goals estimation, and the debt amount you need to repay. This is your financial plan. As simple as that. Remember, this one-page plan is more like a snapshot rather than an instruction manual. It's like building Lego. While each set comes with a thick instruction booklet telling you what to build first and next, you still look at the picture on the box to check if you're building it right. Your one-page plan works the same way. By comparing your progress against it, you'll know whether you're moving forward or going off track. Now you might ask, since you've established your values, identified your goals, faced reality, and created your financial plan, is it time to learn about investing? Not yet. It's too early. Before investing, there's something crucial you need to know: where your money comes from. For this, we need to look at both expenses and savings. Let's start with expenses. By budgeting and cutting unnecessary spending, you can build your wealth. Life is full of expenses: essential living costs, mortgage payments, the latest iPhone, monthly phone data plans, limited edition designer bags, new camera features. You might admit to getting carried away with endless new products, but how can you stay clear-headed? The answer is simple and traditional: budgeting. To make budgeting work, you need to track your expenses. Through tracking, you'll discover that your actual spending patterns are quite different from what you perceive. You'll find that you're spending too much money on things you don't really value. By comparing your tracked expenses with your budget, you can decide which expenses to reduce. Cutting unnecessary spending allows you to save more. I'm not asking you to criticize yourself. This is about raising awareness. You might think you spend little on coffee or only bought a couple of bags last year, but tracking might reveal otherwise. Through expense tracking, you might discover you're spending too much on bags when you'd rather use that money for traveling. If you find areas that need change, you can better evaluate your values and financial goals. Remember, this is all about raising financial awareness. No judgment, no self-blame. Now let's look at savings. Your task is to create a suitable savings plan and start implementing it immediately. While you might have read various recommendations about what percentage of income to save, there's no universal standard because everyone has different priorities and lifestyles. Since you've created your one-page plan, you should be able to determine the most suitable savings level for your goals. This level should align with your personal objectives, not expert recommendations. Start as soon as possible, whether you're in your 20s or 30s, regardless of what happened in the past. Today's young people face tremendous pressure: paying rent in your 20s, mortgage in your 30s. Actually, we're relatively better off. Studies show that nearly half of Americans couldn't come up with $2,000 within 30 days for emergencies. Don't dream about getting rich overnight to catch up. That's highly unlikely. What you need to do is start saving now. Now that we've clarified where money comes from, we can finally look at how to invest. Investment consists of 3 parts. First, whether to buy life insurance. Second, whether you have debts to repay. And third, most importantly, distinguishing between true investment wisdom and investment frenzy. Let's look at the first point. Should you buy life insurance? The core principle to help you make this decision is, if someone is financially dependent on you, then you need life insurance. What does dependency mean? For a married couple where both have stable jobs and no children, if one spouse unfortunately passes away, the other can maintain a certain standard of living through their own income. This isn't dependency. However, if there are children or if the surviving spouse doesn't work, that's dependency. Many people are reluctant to discuss insurance, finding it morbid or uncomfortable. But since we're discussing financial planning, as rational individuals, we need to set aside these emotional factors and evaluate the potential economic losses. If you need insurance, how much should you get? It depends on the potential economic loss. This isn't just about the deceased person's income. It's also about the impact on the survivor. For example, if the deceased earned $100,000 annually and the survivor's income decreases by $20,000 because they need to balance work with childcare, the total loss is $120,000. How do you convert this loss into an insurance amount? Simply apply the 4% rule. Divide our calculated $120,000 by 4%, and you should aim for $3 million in coverage. Moving to the second point, do you have any debts to repay? If so, your only priority should be clearing those debts. Debt repayment is also an investment. As the saying goes, those who understand interest earn it, those who don't pay it. Let's look at an example. Say you have a 20-year mortgage with a 5% interest rate. Draw a circle and write 5% inside it. Next to it, draw a box. What return rate do you think you could earn from investments? 8%? Write that in the box with a question mark beside it. Now you're facing two options: a guaranteed 5% return by paying off debt, or a potential 8% return that's uncertain. Makes sense now, right? Given the uncertainty in investment returns, debt repayment is an excellent investment choice. Finally, let's address the most crucial point: distinguishing true investment wisdom from investment frenzy. While everyone has different views on financial management, there's one thing most people agree on: disappointment with the stock market. Many people still think of financial management in terms of stock tips and hot sectors. You've probably heard stories of people investing all their money, even borrowed funds, based on insider tips about stocks supposedly about to skyrocket. How often does that work out? Rarely. The author himself invested $10,000 in tech stocks during the 1990s boom, following others' advice. When the bubble burst, that investment shrank to just $81. Yet, looking back, the overall market continued to rise. So what went wrong? Why do investors lose money even in a rising market? The problem lies in confusing investment with speculation. Personal knowledge about individual stocks rarely provides guaranteed returns. In investing, you must remember these principles. Diversify your investment portfolio, keep costs low, and remember there's always a correlation between risk and return. Everyone understands diversification. The classic investment philosophy is, don't put all your eggs in one basket. If something happens to that basket, you'll lose everything. Why is low cost so important? There are many uncertainties in investing, such as fund manager changes, ownership structure changes, policy impacts, company performance decline, and countless others. Any small factor can affect the final return, but there's only one thing that remains constant: costs. For example, typical stock funds have a management fee of 1.5%, while index funds charge only 1%. No need to say more, just go with index funds. The relationship between risk and return is crystal clear. You can't catch a big fish without getting your feet wet. To achieve high returns, you must accept high risks. In other words, if you want to make big money, be prepared to lose big money. These three principles form the foundation of investing. Now that we know the principles, you might ask how to invest specifically? Unfortunately, there's no one-size-fits-all detailed plan. As you know, everyone's needs are different, so financial plans must be tailored to individual circumstances. If you really want a general guideline, here's one that institutional investors use by default and has been historically proven. Maintain a 60-40 split between stocks and bonds in your portfolio. This default allocation will likely give you better returns than most people achieve. You must maintain this 60-40 ratio. In professional terms, you need to rebalance annually. Simply put, if you have $1,000 invested, with $600 in stocks and $400 in bonds. And after a year, your stocks grow to $700. Your golden ratio is broken. What do? Sell some stocks and buy bonds to restore the initial ratio. If stocks fall, do the opposite. Sell bonds and buy stocks. Once you have a properly allocated portfolio, your work is done. Then you can sit back and let it work for you. Really? Don't be too active. Be lazy. The interesting thing about investing is that the less you do, the better your results. As Warren Buffett says, our trademark investment process is benign neglect, bordering on sloth. Investing is like planting a tree. Now all you need to do is enjoy its shade. After hearing all this, you might still feel uncertain. That's okay. Everyone has similar concerns. To help put your mind at ease, here are 2 reassuring thoughts from the author's 20-plus years of financial experience. First, problems are never as severe as they seem. You might feel terrible now, without a house or savings, but it's okay. Take a deep breath. You still have opportunities. Second, our worries are universal. While every person and family seems different, we're all pursuing similar things: happiness, security, and stability. Let me recap for you. Your entire financial management journey consists of 2 main steps: creating a 1-page financial plan and then investing according to this plan's general direction. While you can adjust the content of this 1-page plan based on life changes, its core components remain constant. You need to write down what money means to you, your estimated goals, and your debts to repay. These elements will serve as your guiding lights throughout your investment journey. You need to spend less and save more to have funds available for investment. The first step in investing is to consider the necessity of life insurance, then pay off any manageable debts. Finally, you must become a rational investor, staying firm in your value investment principles. If you can accomplish all of these things, I'm confident you'll achieve your financial goals.